Today is the day. Today is the day that could either wreck you or make you, as Donald Trump has set his deadline on today. Now, every single deadline he has set, he has tackled. So is today going to be different? And what is it going to do to the markets? In the last 48 hours, an enormous amount of information and news have come through. And I'll read it as I put it onto the screen. Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. Then the US claimed that peace talks would resume with Iran tomorrow. Then Iran backed out of the peace talks with the USA. Iran has now accused the USA of plotting to do a surprise attack, which could be boots on the ground, worst case scenario. And the USA has struck and seized an Iranian vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iran has denied any Trump's claim of giving up uranium enrichment. And today is the deadline that Donald Trump has given, whether they're going to go in for more greater attacks or less. Now, we're in the scenario right now is that if they go in, the market is going to tank. And if they don't, the market is going to rally. But the question is this: how much more rally can this market do without a relevant level of correction going through? Let's see. Let's have a look through the markets. Let's see what S&P 500 is doing, Bitcoin and various other things. And if you wait to the end, I'm going to give you guys a really cool little thing as well. If we look at Bitcoin at this present moment, we're still sitting wholeheartedly within this channel. Now, the problem with this channel is that it's somewhat a bear flag, right? So, and for that to be confirmed, we need this to close underneath, and we need at least 3 consecutive candles and a further breakdown from that level. Now, where we are right now still looks relatively bullish. I'm not going to lie, we're in a really positive scenario to see further growth in this market, but I will say something on the lower time frames. If we look at Bitcoin at this present moment and actually try and analyze the relevant move that we've gone through, if we take the full move that has happened and a pullback and a retest, we've seen that it's retested 50% level, and now it's retesting at 0.382 level. And now we need to understand, if these levels cannot be regained, if we cannot break above the prior range and hold, which funny enough sits almost exactly at the 618 level, then we are going to go down further. Now, again, the market is somewhat unsure because on the one hand, Donald Trump is seen to be the taco president, and every single time he's done this, the market has rallied exponentially. And on the other hand, if he does go in and escalate these things, as that attack on that ship has proven, this thing could break down quite aggressively, confirming this bear flag. Now, where we're sitting right now, it's extremely precarious to make a trade. Extremely precarious. And you need to set key levels that it needs to break, hold, and then make your trade from there. Again, prior range break, we're all good. Around the 76, and from there on, potentially a bit higher around the 76.4. Anything below the prior range on the 74,700, even better. If it gets below the 73,753, we're looking at a potential breakdown, and a sub 60 is on the cards. Right now, we still look relatively bullish. The only issue is there are some key indicators that are pointing towards a potential pullback, but we have to see that once it's confirmed. Right now, we are right at resistance. There is a large level of resistance at where we're sitting, especially at where we are. We need clarification on news before we can move forward. One more area of quite interesting analysis is that USDT dominance has built up another level of inefficiency sitting right here. It's happened several times before and has caused a rally in the market. This was what gives me the understanding that we could be in a scenario where we could break down and have a massive rally from this point. It's happened several times before, but I will say this, on the shorter time frames, it is on the 30 minutes and it's on the 15 minutes, and pretty much shows exactly the same all the way up until I say around the 2-hour mark. Even the 2-hour mark is sitting on similar aspects. But if we look at this, there is a strong squeeze that is happening right now with these EMAs crossing below, but the larger term EMAs somewhat rising. We're getting into a level where there's going to be a huge move. Now, where this huge move is is looking like, unfortunately, related to the news, and the news is going to be a real factor in this. And I absolutely hate trading within news. It causes your edge to disappear because volatility goes crazy, and then emotional trading goes in, and you can't really judge exactly what's going to happen. Watching this is very key. Understanding is very key. It's super important to know what is going on from here. If we look at the main show, myself on the S&P 500, this is where my ultimate worry stands. At this present moment, we have had multiple growth. We've just had a V-shaped recovery without a real pullback, a real test of prior range. And the problem without having a prior range test is that we start getting these gaps that are appearing. And at this present moment, I think we're at 4 gaps at this present moment, and usually inefficiencies in the graph are filled in at later states. And as I said, the higher we go up, the more pain that we're going to feel. We look at oil and we see that initially, once we saw that America had attacked that oil tanker, the price jumped, but we're still seeing a potential and further downward trend in oil, which bodes well for the market. But I will say this, if this area around the 85.85 holds on the daily, due to the level of resistance and support that we have in this moment, we could potentially see this thing to rally. To be honest, it should be rallying. Every aspect of what is happening should cause the price of oil to go up. But I will say this is the futures mark. Actual oil prices wholesale is way higher. Now, if we look at the altcoins, which is a lot of people are actually really interested in this, and we look at the key graph for oil, which is Bitcoin minus various factors, stable coins, adjusted stable coins, and various other things, we see that we are sitting at an extremely important resistance level. That's why it's so hard to trade at this moment. A rejection here will cause a rally in alts. A breakthrough will cause a pullback in alts and more of a rally in Bitcoin. Right now, you need to watch this like a hawk, look at it at lower time frames and see what is going on. An actual full-blown breakthrough this, in my opinion, is what you would call as a short-term alt season. Now, this is a graph that you need to pay attention to. Cryptocurrency works well when you look and adjust it against other pairs. And right now, the 2 factors that are really important in this is to understand whether USDT is dominant or if Bitcoin is dominant. And pairing the 2 together is very important at this present moment. And right now, it looks like USDT against Bitcoin has found support on a rising bullish factor. Now, we have to be extremely careful here, because if we look, there is a relevant trend that is playing in this scenario. And although we're rejecting off it, there is this key level of support that sits in this scenario here. This here is extremely important. And if this is a support for this, and we see a breakout here, we will see an aggressive pullback in all markets, especially in the cryptocurrencies, the ones that I trade in. Now, keep this in mind, put this onto your graphs, monitor this like a hawk, because this is going to indicate where we are in this cycle. Anyway, come back to me tomorrow and we'll see what has happened. We'll see if Donald Trump has capitulated. We will see if the market is rallying, and then we can understand once the market and the Monday range is set. Remember, trading today is news-based, and that news base is going to change everything. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.